Grownish, smartish, British.
We are British, apparently. Uh-huh.
Ben, you're leading the
But
whole
it's only 'cause
episode,
I'm
yeah?
disappearing
Let's see how it
next
goes.
week and the
We're a
week
team,
after.
yeah? We're a team. We're a team. We're a team.
Thumbs up.
We're a team. You are now locked in. Locked in live.
Oh,
yeah,
Lord.
you ain't heard this voice before at the beginning. You're now locked in to the Grown Up British podcast. My name is Ben of LDN. And to my left we have...
I'm sorry, I'm still chewing popcorn. Hi, I'm Heather. You can catch me on I am Hebz on Instagram.
And on my right we have the lovely...
It's me, Fizz. What's my Instagram? Keep it Fizz.
Cheese and bread.
Baby girl.
And of course we have a lovely guest with us sitting here today. Want to introduce yourself, young man?
My name's Leo. I'm trying to match Ben's energy today. Yeah, my name's Leo. You can find me at Leos_index on Instagram. And
Why that Instagram name?
I like it.
I
'cause
mean,
it's
I'm
my
intrigued.
index. It's just index of me, like so.
That's interesting.
I've
Yeah,
lost my
Leo's
phone.
index.
It's gonna
It's
follow
in your
Leo.
hand, you dummy.
Oh.
I beg you guys, look. Can the camera zoom in? The phone is in her hand.
My hand.
I lost my phone.
Fizz, I wear glasses, yeah? Do you want to...
I've,
Spectators.
that happens to me all the time. Don't worry, I'm not.
All right.
Can't find my glasses. Wait, they're on my
They're
face.
on my face. Oh.
So, and you do a podcast. What's
Yeah,
your,
yeah,
sorry?
and you can catch mine and Aladdin's podcast on Instagram would be podcast_BTS, and on YouTube is Beyond the Surface podcast.
And we've got Aladdin in the back over there.
Big up Aladdin in the background.
Big up Aladdin.
Into your
Hype
nose.
your shit.
Man's just in the cut. Just
At
chilling in
least
the
it's not
back.
waving this time.
He's
so.
there, he's there.
He had to upgrade.
Hey, don't dislocate your
Yeah, I saw that flexing it. Like,
Bro, I think it's already dislocated anyways. It's
which is
alright.
why it flops the way it flops.
That's why it moves like that. It
It's
looks
alright,
too
it's alright,
flexible.
it's alright. Stretch Armstrong and all that. Well, we've got a lovely episode for you today. We're going to be talking about some good stuff. But first, before we get into that, we always start with one thing. What do we start with?
Would you
you
rather?
This is nice, and then we can get the good vibes. So who's got the would you rathers? Normally I would have them.
I
but-
believe it's me today.
Leo will
Leo.
We got a guest
Okay.
doing it.
Yes.
So, would you rather question is this: would you rather spend 5 years in jail or a decade in coma?
Oh, cheese and bread.
Mm.
Cheese and bread.
But you've grown up
you've
older.
aged in that process.
But
You
then,
Yeah, I was going
I
to say, you
can't-
might even look older
I
than
can't
10
even
years
ask
older.
which jail, because that makes a big difference.
No variables,
'Cause
boo.
if you're going to a maximum security, that's 23
Us.
hours in solitary confinement. But if you're going to
Someone watches a
the
lot of
halfway
documentaries.
house, then it could be, you're out and about. So, but a coma, this is my logic, and I'm leaning towards where I'm going to go. A coma is you are vegetating as it progresses. So if you don't use your muscles, you lose them literally. So it will take you years, decades to be able to even walk again. So I'm leaning towards jail.
If it wasn't for my family and the burden I would put them through knowing I'm in jail, what the WhatsApp group gonna say when they say your daughter's disappeared for so long? Oh yeah, she's on holiday, she's working. Because like we've run out of excuses. You're saying she's in a coma sounds a lot more like, oh haram, let's make dua for her and pray for her. But I think jail would give me more life experience. I might not survive it. I might have some very uncomfortable situations. But I'd rather risk being in jail than being in a coma. I think it allows me to exist. And I think the majority of people who leave prison,
Are reformed. We hope.
as in those who aren't
I don't know
criminal
about that
minded, those like one-off offenders are people who just have to ride out prison and they leave probably more upskilled than they were beforehand. But they've just been exposed to the world in a very weird way, potentially scarred a little bit. So I think I'll take that.
I'll give this statistic after we've all chosen. But
What,
Yeah,
you'd
what
rather go to prison then?
Yeah.
Yeah. Go on, Leo.
So I think for me, I definitely would go to prison instead. I would go to jail because I wouldn't miss out on extra 5 years. Because if I'm in a coma, I'm missing out on 5 years of my existence. So I don't get to experience life as much. And plus, going to jail, I can probably spend time on different things like just training more.
Just imagine like all the
reading.
stresses that you avoid by just being in a coma.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yes.
The peace.
But I wouldn't want to be in a coma because that is a mental prison. Imagine being conscious enough where you can hear everything going on around you, but you can't move your body.
There's a condition for that. Where people actually go in surgery and they're still conscious.
Yeah.
They can feel everything.
Yeah. I mean, to know that, you know, life is happening.
What? So everyone who's in a coma can hear and feel everything.
Not
around them?
everyone. I think there's different levels of consciousness when people are in a coma, and some people can absolutely hear everything that's going on around them, and other people's are completely like.
You can say, I think it's called locked-in syndrome or something
Yeah.
like that, where everyone thinks you're in a coma, but actually you're fully aware of what's going on.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll be taking notes of who's gossiping about who, the nurse is
yeah,
walking in,
yeah.
going, oh, that bitch outside.
But
Yeah.
also remember, if you're going into surgery, you feel all of it.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't want to be in that coma.
Yeah, so for that reason, it's being locked into your body and not having control over it sounds horrific. Yeah, it's
I have
basically
that. I have
yeah,
that. I
it's
hate it.
basically like sleep paralysis.
I used
So,
to have that a lot when I was younger. I used
Yeah.
to battle to wake up. It's
Yeah.
long.
That's mad.
it's not nice.
Yeah.
Really? Wow.
So I would rather go to jail.
Fair enough.
So we all going to
But it
jail,
sounds,
yeah?
it sounds appealing to like skip on 10 years of my responsibilities and just teleport 10 years.
But that's if you're waking up, you know, in the same body, the same state of mind.
I would have lost weight by then. Listen, there's hope. God forbid, God forbid, God forbid,
Fizz, you
God
got the
forbid.
next. Would you rather?
Yes, but I will let Leo read it out.
Why am I reading
Why are you
that?
being so
Yeah.
year free?
It's
Leo,
you.
you
Why,
could
you
read
scared you
it.
might lose your phone
No,
again?
we got teamwork.
Why am I reading it out? You can read it out. Like.
Oh my god!
You
All right.
literally outsourced your work.
Wait, I'm trying to find the one that I found before.
No pressure.
No pressure.
Oh my God.
Wow, with the scrolling, the amount of scrolling I'm seeing right now, there's definitely pressure
Are
happening.
you sure? Are you sure she's not going through her block list?
It's that long. Sadly,
That's Fizz's index.
for those who don't know, Fizz's block list is 300
strong.
plus.
No way.
yeah.
Man, them. Block, 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 block,
I just
block,
say, yeah,
block,
blocker,
block,
blocker,
block,
What's the
blocker.
no, but what's the like threshold for blocking people?
When they
Someone uses the word female. Someone says female.
Someone stole
spells
her-
female.
Someone stole her phone. Oh crap! Wait, she's holding it, blocking them.
It's like, hi, I would like to offer this opportunity. Block. Like,
block,
just-
yes.
yeah.
Can I?
Um,
No.
So one of the would you rather's. Would you rather eat celery or oatmeal for the rest of your life?
Neither, mate.
But you have to pick. You have to eat celery or oatmeal for
Oatmeal.
the rest of your life.
Oatmeal.
Yeah, I'll take oat. You can
It'll
do a
keep
lot
me
of
full.
oatmeal, bro.
I don't
Yeah.
eat celery anyway, so
Plain
I don't
oatmeal.
eat really
Huh?
eat
With
either.
no water, no milk, no nothing.
What? Maybe water.
Just dry,
bit of
raw
milk.
Yeah,
oatmeal.
that's not in the would you rather.
Hold on, raw oatmeal.
I mean, it just says oatmeal,
Hold
so
on,
I'm
wait,
assuming
are we
oatmeal
talk-
with no extra additives.
raw oatmeal. Like I can't cook it, I can't bake it, I can't fry it, I can't saute
You can
it.
fry
So
oatmeal.
I remember when I was younger, in cookery class, we used to make one of the first baking things we made were like oat biscuits,
Mm.
and I just remember me picking at them. Does that count? I don't know. I used to enjoy eating them. Does that count? I don't know. So I would associate
Like
with that.
oatmeal raisin cookies.
Yeah,
Jeez,
banged.
bread.
They banged back then. I was in year 7. They were fire. As a fat thing back then, I was like, oh my God, I want more. Can I? It's like, you don't have a family, give it to me. So yeah,
You're picking oats.
oatmeal. Yeah.
What are you picking, Leo?
No, that's just I don't really eat celery anyway, so
Celery.
Oh, I like celery.
Never. I don't think I even ever tried it.
Oh, celery's nice.
It just looks like a very pointless thing in life. I've had lettuce. I've had everything. I've just not. I'm very big on greens,
I like
but
it.
celery just is like a very awkward.
It's got a
thing.
little
It's hard
kick
as
to
well.
it. No, but it's okay.
hard,
So it's
it
like a negative
snaps.
calorie food.
Yeah, I know. In any
Mm.
diet, they're like, oh, eat celery. I'm like, no, thank you.
Oh, I like it. I'd eat celery.
Mm.
Don't like oatmeal. All right. Last, would you rather?
Alright, go boom, boom, boom.
Would you rather be the ugliest person in the world
This is a
or
good one.
smell the worst?
Silence.
ugly. You know what? I'd be the ugliest person in the world.
Yeah, my personality might
Yeah.
slap still. That's how I sell through life.
Yeah.
Before my glow up, I was like,
Ben's really thinking about it. I want to know what Ben's thinking.
because you can't mask your smell,
No, you can't. But,
so you can't be
but
Links Africa
but
every day.
You could. That's true. You can't.
Oh.
Not just at Christmas. But ugly, ugly is in the eye of the beholder. So you might find someone that would find you attractive. So what you feel is ugly,
Yeah.
someone else.
But
will
then the
like,
same
"Nah,
with your
he's
odor.
bad."
Someone might be like, "Oh my god,
I love that.
this perfume. What is it?"
Frowsy smell.
It's
Your
just me.
jokes.
Sosorobia.
What is that? That smells nice. Yeah, that's mad.
I haven't showered in 3
That's
days.
actually. It's like, where's that fragrance? Yeah, I haven't showered for like 5 weeks. It's like, it's
I'm making tricks like I'm homeless. No, man, I'm cool.
Ew,
No,
no.
Burn the nose hairs off you. No,
Yeah.
I go ugly.
Yeah, I think I'd go with
Does
ugly
no one wanna
too.
ask him the
No
R.
one
Kelly
wants to
one?
smell.
Oh, that's it.
What?
So hypothetically,
Yeah.
isn't the last one? This is the last one. Hypothetically, if you had to leave your children, who would you rather leave them with? R. Kelly or
God.
Michael Jackson?
That wasn't Leo releasing wind out of nervousness.
Who would you rather leave them with?
Oh,
We have to ask our guests.
I'm not
every
gonna
time.
lie, yeah. You haven't really given me much of an option, but
It's just as Aladdin said earlier, 2 shit options.
you know what?
Yeah.
I think I'd probably Michael Jackson. You know,
Yeah.
Why, Mike?
I don't know. It just seems like he's got more of a vibe. Just
You're gonna have a vibe.
That
yourself,
is the
man.
strangest answer we've had. For someone
fuck it.
leaving
Energy's
Just fuck it. It's just might as well just beat him. Yeah.
You're gonna have a vibe, okay?
I mean, they had a whole fun fair in his back garden.
That's what I'm saying.
It's
At
a
least you're gonna have
vibe.
fun.
You're gonna get touched, but you're
It's
gonna
like-
have fun.
Because R. Kelly's gonna be
got
pissing
hits.
and all that. That's just can't really be
R.
doing
Kelly
R.
got
Kelly.
hits though. He can make the vibe.
Nah,
Wherever he
We're
goes.
boycotting
I
them
don't.
hits.
I don't even know that. It's just
Not even the remix.
Do you know what?
to
The fun
Ignition.
fair is a deal breaker for me still.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Just come on.
At least I have some moments
Yeah.
of fun.
Yeah.
Before I got
Yeah.
spooned, I don't think
Yeah.
whether he molested them. I think he just spooned them to bed. I'm convinced it was spooning.
Come on, at least with Michael Jackson, kids said they had fun, innit? Like with R. Kelly, I don't know. It's just
Yeah,
they
everyone-
said the
everyone's-
hotel wasn't really popping like that.
And they were imprisoned. some of them
Yeah, it was a
mentally.
lot. R. Kelly did
Yeah.
the most. That dirty
That
bastard.
is quite.
Yeah, but
Whereas
that's-
Michael
yeah.
Jackson's kids were all pretty much still happy afterwards.
Nah,
Do you know
but
if-
the question is mad though.
Good, we're
Thank
keeping
you,
that.
thank
So
you.
for any person that comes onto this podcast, you definitely expect that question because I think it's a sadistic maze of nuances that you have to try and navigate.
Mm-hmm.
You really have to think about it, and it's really interesting. So yeah, it would be good. It'd be
And
good.
unfortunately, it's my corrupted mind that made it up. It was never found.
Yeah.
It's,
This is
not, it's not
all-
to be found on Instagram. Or
Heba is
Google.
going to trademark that.
Yeah.
I mean, until it backfired, I'm like, it wasn't me.
Okay, so today we're talking about positive affirmation, and we're going to take a journey in to see how I want to really look at how the dynamic of boys and girls and going through the ages, how it actually affected you. Did you get positive affirmation? What were sort of encouragement words that you got as a youth, and be good for you, Leo, as well. What sort of things are you in which you explained in a previous episode in your man circle? What do you say in order to build up the next generation and also talk to them and give them words of encouragement? So I wanted to start with Heba.
Oh.
When you were growing up, when you were younger,
Yeah.
what were the things that you saw or what were the things that you were told that were really encouraging to you?
That's interesting because I don't think I had any active, like, positive affirmations in my household. Like, it's weird. It was like, well done for like doing house chores, love languages. So my mum feeding us as like a celebration of your achievement. I didn't have positive affirmation growing up. I had a lot of comparisons and a lot of your cousin's doing better or your cousin's doing this, you better do well as well. It was more about keeping up appearances to achieve. Like I don't think when I deep it, I don't think we really had, which is why I've changed the narrative with my son, but we'll get on to that later.
Interesting. How about you, Fizz?
I'd actually have to say it's really similar to Hebz. So what my parents gave me positive affirmations with in one hand, they would take it away with the other. For example, education. My mum is really big on education, and my dad really supported that too, because he, according to him, I'm smart. I don't think I am, but hey ho, smart enough to get by.
Who you? You
Yeah.
are smart, but carry on.
But yeah, so my dad would push the education and stuff on me, same as my mum. And I remember when I was in year 8, I did a GCSE in Bengali. So
wow.
yeah, because I'm fluent, so I did it. I got a grade B, pretty good for 12, 13-year-old.
Did you do the A level of it?
No, I drew the line. I was like,
I was gonna
never
say
again.
it humbled me. Sorry, I got an
Yeah.
A star in Arabic for GCSE, E for excellent for my AS.
Oh no.
Carry on.
But, so obviously I came home, told my mum, you know, I got a grade B. I thought, you know, she'd be proud of me because I'm significantly younger than GCSE age to be sitting GCSE level. And she was like, why didn't you get an A? And I was like, oh, so I'm not even smart. But a lot of me growing up, I never really got positive affirmations like you're kind, you're a good person, your personality is this or anything like that. It was always a backhanded compliment in some ways, or you'd get complimented on something one week and that same thing would get taken away from you the following week.
Can I just add? Sorry, I remember something. My mum would compliment us behind our back, or she'll give us positive affirmations. No, it's not for affirmations, but positive praises.
Yeah.
To her
Relatives.
friends on the phone. Like I'd listen, I'd be like, oh yeah, Hebz, you know, she's blessed her, she's got a kind heart, or bless her, she's very, and I'm like, it's the same person.
So
I never saw that.
So my mum would do that, as in if we weren't in the room, I do think she would sing our praises. If we couldn't hear her, she would say, oh, my kids did really well. They've done this. But if we're sitting in front of her and she's on the phone,
useless,
she'd be cussing us out to whoever it is on the phone as well.
Yeah.
So we'd be like, why are you baiting us out like this?
Was there any comparisons? Because you know you have siblings. Were there any
So I'm the
comparisons?
eldest. So I think a lot of the pressure was on my younger ones because I had to blaze basically. I had to
Did
set
they
the
study?
tone.
Did they did the GCSEs and?
No, they didn't. But like, you know, they had a lot more pressure. Like my sister, I remember my sister talking about it, going, you went to uni and you did a really hard subject and you got a good grade, but I went and did this, and I don't feel like mum and dad see it as a serious achievement kind of thing. And I was like, but it is. So I think they felt, my younger siblings definitely felt the pressure of being compared against me, but I got it from my older cousins. So some of them ended up being doctors and lawyers and stuff like that. And I go, why aren't you going down that route?
You don't want to be a lawyer?
I don't want to be a lawyer.
Doctor? No.
No.
Engineer? Oil? No.
Well, technically engineer, but
Yeah.
You are? No, very
qualified,
true.
but not practicing. Civil. Yeah.
See? There you go.
But, you know, I got it where I had other family members who were, I would say cousins, because my dad didn't go to college, or he dropped out of college. My mum finished college but didn't go on to uni. So for them there was like a finite line, and they wanted to see their kids go on to the next line, but they would compare us to our cousins, or my younger siblings would get compared to me. And it still happens. I hear my mum, so my baby brother is 15, he's coming up to GCSE age. I hear my mum say to him, like, look how well your sister did. She's got a master's, you need to do that. And I'm like,
a baby. He's a big boy now.
a baby.
In your
Always
eyes,
be my
girl.
baby bro.
Leo,
yeah.
Leo, what about you? I want specifically, not maybe when growing up as teenagers, because we'll get onto that, but when you were maybe in primary school and before that, do you remember those times of getting that encouragement from family members, from parents? What was the household like at that time?
Nah, I didn't. So obviously it was just me and my mum growing up anyway, from when I was 3. But yeah, I wasn't really getting any affirmations anyway. Like, I don't think I've got any until later on. So since we're talking about that specific age, I didn't really get them.
Interesting.
Yeah, because even in school, like in my primary school, which was back home, so I moved to UK, to London when I was 12. But my primary school back home, like, I wasn't really on like the best terms with the teacher and stuff, so I wasn't really getting anything. I'm trying to recall, but I don't think I was. Don't think I got anything really.
What about yourself, Ben?
For me, it was very similar to what you've expressed around comparison. Because I was like Fizz, the oldest in the family, there was also an element of comparable to me.
You have to set a good example for your younger siblings.
There is a very there is an unwritten pressure that as the oldest comes this expectation that you need to set a level foundation for everyone else. So everyone else after you has to either get what you've got or better.
Yeah.
So with you, it was your sister was able to get a GCSE at 13. Why haven't you got that? So that's the expectation that you set. I did get, I think it was more from my mum's side where I was able to get a lot of encouragement. You can do this. You can, she would always say, you can do whatever you want.
That's it.
The reason why I traveled so much when I was in my 20s was because of my mum.
Well
My
done.
dad was able to say, and this was very interesting coming as an African man who came from Nigeria to here, say, if you want to love whoever you want to love, that's okay with me. That is, to me, thinking about it, especially in the 80s and early 90s, that's mind-blowing because of this sort of things that happen in Africa, and homosexuality was outlawed up until recently. Some cases, some countries, it still is outlawed. So for him to say that, it was a way for me to be like, I can be whatever I want and not be afraid to.
You're not boxed.
No, it wasn't ever that case. But I wanted to understand from you, what did that do mentally for you? Always being compared to your siblings or cousins or family members.
I can tell you for free, like that killed that made a lot of built a lot of friction between our families. So I can tell you now, one of my cousins to this very day, two of them hold resentment to us because they were being compared. We were being compared. They were being compared to us.
They were being compared to you,
and we were
guys,
oblivious to it.
Yeah.
So they were like, "Oh, look at your cousins! They're achieving this. Look at this one. She's wearing a headscarf. Look at this one." And we're completely unaware that we're used as this goalpost, or goals or whatever. So I can tell, like, already that caused a massive barrier between our relationships blooming because they would see us as a threat or as that negative association. So of course, as siblings, similar things would happen where it's just like, oh, of course, because you're perfect. And like my younger sister, bless her, she's such an overachiever. She's amazing. She's very positive. She's the only one that wears hijab. So she ticks all the boxes of the ideal daughter. But that also took a lot of grafting on our end to allow parents to allow her to do different things and live her life and do like, so she can have that mindset to want to do more of her life than just simply just ride through university, ride through education, just so you can get out of it and stop the comparison. So I think, yeah, I didn't know any different until I realized my friends were being praised by their family members. Like when I saw my friends and her mum sitting here encouraged while she's doing her homework, and when I go to their house, I'll be like, "Oh, this is different," and I'll be like, "Okay." So when you don't know any wiser, you assume this is normal behavior, and you just think, "Oh, that's just it's just a normal household." But when you started looking outside and realizing, actually, wait, there's different ways of communicating. There's different ways of showing that interest of homework, rather than if you don't do your homework, you can't watch TV. If you can't do this, like there's association of punishment rather than
like actual praise and reward.
Yeah. So I think I never got that. I got the punishment side, but I don't think they meant it in a malicious manner. I think that's all they ever knew. So because that's all I ever knew. I never saw it as like I hate you guys. I mean, I had my moments where I wanted to pack my bags and run away and call social services. I don't know, all them crazy stuff. But that was just momentarily, I think. Yeah. But it's when I compared more outside the box, that's when I realized, nah, this is different.
What about you, Fizz?
So the way that I felt then is how those feelings are still there. So the feelings that I have are I'm not good enough.
Wow.
I'm inadequate. I should do better. I should do more.
But if you're the benchmark, where do these feelings come from?
She's being compared by other people as well.
Well, I'm being compared to cousins, but also when I'm being told the achievements that you have achieved, you could have done better. So I got a B grade at 13 and I'm being told, why didn't you get an A star? When I got my GCSEs, like actual GCSEs, I got a mixture of A's, B's and 1C. Why didn't you get all A's? When it came to A level, I was like, I'm done with this. I pretty much flopped them. It is what it is. Went on to uni. Why didn't you get a first? Like it's that constant.
It's not enough.
Yeah, constant not enough. Constant. This is just in relation to education, but there's so many other aspects where I was told or made to feel like I'm not enough, and they're very like they're big things that have shaped me now as an adult because they still linger. There are times when I've called you, Hebs, going, I'm crap at my job.
I'm like,
And
brethren, let's
she's
just
having to
pull up real quick.
Yeah, and she's having to comfort me basically and reassure me that I'm not crap at my job. I'm
It's
just
not even
having a hard
comfort
day.
you. I have
You
to
just
just
have to-
reflect back everything that
Yeah.
you do and remind you of how incredible you are at your job.
But
But that's just you.
But that's me. But that's where it's become an insecurity in me, where I feel like I'm never good enough, and it applies to so many aspects of life for me because
But then
it
it shows you how much it stems, how much that
it impacted
that pivotal moment in life in your childhood can decide and dictate everything.
That's your foundation, right?
That's my
If your foundation is built on, and no, this isn't directed.
It's not a criticism at all. Yeah.
If your foundation is built on, I think your foundation is built on trying to push you to do better. Sometimes the reflection that you have on yourself is, I'm never good enough. So your parents are always of the mindset of, my job here is to push you to your maximum, but they don't realize that that can have negative effects on you.
Yeah, it's the phrasing, it's the words, but it's also the lack of support. So bearing in mind my dad didn't finish college, bearing in mind my mum moved to the UK when she was 17, there's a limit to their education and how much they could have supported us with homework, with coursework, that kind of stuff. So like Heb said, homework was, if you didn't do your homework, you'd be punished for it. But my parents never sat there and went, let's have a look, let's see how you did, let's see whether you need a bit more support, can I help you with your homework? None of that. So I had to do it on my own, go to school, hand it in, get it marked and stuff, get the feedback from the teacher, but never get the support from home.
And you still managed to get a GCSE at 13, multiple different GCSEs, and you got a degree. You said you've got a master's, and you still throughout the time wherever, whether it be work or personal, still doubt yourself. You don't see the achievements that you've been able, and this isn't me just bigging you up.
But it is literally how it is. So if I was to list my achievements on paper, I'd be like, yeah, I've done a lot. But if you ask me how I felt about them, because of how I was, how it was sort of, I don't know, how it was criticized from young, it always feels like I could have done better. And a lot of the times I will sit and reflect at the end of a week, at the end of a work week, I will literally sit and reflect and be like, could I have done more this week? Could I have done more? Could I have done better? And I'm beating myself up constantly. And I find a lot of the times that my anxieties come back to me overthinking like my performance. And I think that in itself is really, really negative because I'm undermining myself constantly and getting myself into this state where then I cannot perform because I'm so stressed out about not performing that I actually cannot perform anymore. It's like when you try to go to sleep at night, when you're thinking so much about, I need to sleep, you don't sleep. And then you wake, well, if you even get any sleep, you're tired the next day. So it's that vicious cycle.
Leah, what about you? You mentioned and you said that you didn't have any of that affirmation. So how did that affect you mentally?
Do you know what? That's funny is because like, obviously from what I'm hearing, that sometimes the affirmations can have a negative impact. So I feel like me not having them, I've never really I didn't really care about it. Like it's not really been a thing in my life. However, obviously I don't know if you want to touch on this now or whatnot, but when I got older, that's when affirmations started being a bit like strange, or like I wouldn't know how to take them, or even like compliments. They would be like,
I suffer with the same thing.
Yeah, they would feel a bit alien. And I think only in the last kind of like year or two, I've made a conscious decision to be like, you know what, like if anyone says anything, I'm going to take it. Like I'm going to take it. And I think there was an element of like not having it before and just like being humble and whatnot. And I said, you know what, I'm just going to take it. And it's completely fine. I also meet people that can't take it either. So like I might, like tell them this and that.
Me and Hebz are looking at each other.
Yeah. And they struggle to take it. And I can tell because like I'm that person that used to struggle to take it in,
I'm glad you brought up accepting compliments.
That is really good, because like similar to you, I struggle, and Hebz knows this. I struggle with taking a compliment. I struggle with someone saying, "Oh, you did a good job." Parents, loved ones will be like, "Oh, that was you've done really, really well." It's like my phrase is, "I haven't done anything yet." Always downplaying what you've done because you don't. I don't personally feel that is enough to warrant someone saying that was a good job.
Why though?
Because I just don't.
Can I say something? I think, and I don't know if that's the case for you. I feel like, but for me, it was definitely the case. I was taking myself for granted. So I took my actions and my sort of input towards something as like, it's minor. It's just like, and I feel like sometimes what happens with
So
people.
that's how you were set up to just do.
Yeah, but I feel like people got a gift, right? Like every single person's got a gift. And sometimes because we're so used to our gift and we're so comfortable with it and it's like a normal for us, we kind of underappreciate and just kind of downplay a little bit. And
No,
just say, yeah, that's
you've
minor.
hit
Like,
the
it's
nail
just what I
'cause-
do. Like,
I can tell you why for myself.
Go on.
Because I always feel that there's someone else that has done much better. So why would you praise
But then where
me?
did that come from?
Yeah.
Where does that mindset come from? That there's always someone that's done better. That's
I have
got
no
to
clue.
have come from somewhere. 'Cause you don't
That's
just
it's
think that.
comparison. Comparison is the thief
I
of
wasn't.
joy.
There was no one to compare me to. I was
Comparison
the
is-
It
only.
doesn't even
Joy.
have to be someone you personally
yeah,
know.
yeah.
That's the thing. It's like when we sit there and compare how we look against how a celebrity looks in their photos. That's a way for us to feel really low in our self-esteem, really really bad in our confidence, looking at an airbrush photo going, oh, she looks amazing, or he looks really muscle, whatever it is, and we're comparing ourselves going, why don't I look like that?
Very true.
So it could be a subconscious.
Yeah, so it doesn't
taken-
have to be someone we know. It could just be we've heard about.
But I think Leah touched a
Success
big thing,
stories.
which is like when people compliment me, like even about the way I talk or how I word something or how I whatever it is, they're like, "Wow, you're really good at it." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" Like, and it's just like I need to give myself ratings. People are like, "You don't believe in your source, do you?" You know how many times I've heard that, and I'm just like, "My personality snaps." That's like my only safeguard, safe space I can say with chest. But I can't give myself credit to anything else.
Yeah.
And it's just like that's kind of sad because you're a whole grown person and there's something inside from a young age or whenever life experience happened where you're just like, nah, I'm not all that.
But you know what? There's also another element of like sometimes for me anyways, like sometimes I'm a perfectionist. So sometimes I know I can do better. So if someone tells me, oh, you've done this or whatever, and in my head I'm thinking actually I can do much better than what I've done there anyways.
Yeah.
So
It's because
sometimes
you anticipated it to go better and it didn't quite.
not necessarily it's maybe it went well. I'm like, this went really well, but I'm like, knowing myself, I'm like, I can do better than that.
If you put more effort or more
more effort or more preparation, whatever it is, it's like I know it could be better. So my thing is like it's just coming from a side of like being a perfectionist, and I'm just like, it's not that I'm not recognizing my efforts, it's just.
But where does that perfectionism come from?
From me.
No, but I feel like a lot of people who strive for perfection have gotten to that state because somewhere along the line they received a criticism.
So I think my sister, sorry,
No, keep going.
my sister, she's the youngest one, the overachiever. She's an overachiever in eyes. She's the one that got all A stars and 1A, but she cried over the A, hyperventilated over the A. And I'm like, bro, I skimmed the C. Are you mad? I had to retake my GCSEs. Are you right? Like, be grateful. And she's like, no, I got a first, but I got a low first. I'm like, brethren, she jumped pay grade to pay grade, like mashallah, touch wood and all that jazz. But she's her biggest critic because she's watched criticism happen in her house, but how she received that and how she's now chosen to implement it in her life is to be very, very hard on herself on extreme levels. And it's like, rather than going, do you know what, I'm doing pretty good. Plus she's like 27, 28, crap. But she's doing better than the average person who's 35. And that's facts. And it's just like, but the way she's taking in how our parents compared or our parents criticized, it's not a little self-doubt in her head. It's like a next level. But anyone else looking in will be like, bro, you know you're smashing it.
Yeah.
But do you know what? Even though that's a negative, it sounds like a negative, right? But it might not be perceived as that. But do you feel like that was her strategy to achieve? Because I feel like sometimes some people set up certain strategies in life where, like, even though it's like it sounds like a negative thing, but it's gonna make her achieve more.
No,
but where she was crying over an A rather than an A, like for not getting an A star.
No, because even now in her current age, she's jumped into a massive career in a pharmaceutical company, and she has to give talks to medical, like she's a medical advisor and another thing as well. I can't remember. She's gonna kill me when she watches this. But she has to sit with doctors around the world and speak to them about medicine. And she goes, I can't do this. I won't do this. How am I going to talk to these people? And they're all these professionals. I'm like, bro, do you know who you are? Do you know you're on the same page as them? She sees herself so far removed than to the person that everyone looks at her as. So it's like,
does that come from youth?
I think it comes from just being critiqued or being compared or being. It's all rooted. It's not from nowhere.
It's also from so we're all gonna get criticism. It's gonna happen. We get
But we all
feedback.
receive it differently.
We all receive it differently, but it's the lack of positive affirmations that really sort of bring that out more. So if okay, fine, she may have got a criticism with not achieving a good grade one time, but if she was to get positive affirmations every other time, like, you know, you've done really well, this, that, and the other, from someone she valued. The thing is, like,
she never got criticized too much. She was opposite. So she was the one that was praised the most, but people compared her to their kids were being compared to her. So she was the one that didn't get to have a cousin that she wanted to have. She's the one that people thought she was Miss Perfect. So she was almost like given a title she now has to stick to, but then it's also a title that's making everyone reject her because she's now on a pedestal. And everyone else is either going to hate or feel bitter towards her. It's
a double-edged sword.
Yeah, really so she wasn't actually critiqued in a negative way. She's always been praised for her. So even like positive affirmation can sometimes have it can be a bit wobbly because sometimes people are like, don't be too positive because then it's like a bit unrealistic.
But then is it the affirmation or is it the expectation? Because for me, like, it sounds like two different things. I feel like affirmation is recognizing someone's ability of something. And I think expectation sometimes can be...
I think expectation more because no one... we give her, as siblings, affirmation. Parents, you set the bar. You better maintain that bar.
Because and that's the expectation.
But she might have put that expectation on herself because now my mum's seen those results. You better keep that coming.
So where does... How do you give affirmation to your now siblings, especially your younger brother? What sort of things are you saying to him that you've seen happen in your family that you know might not have been as accepted now? How are you encouraging him?
So he's at a really pivotal moment in life, preparing for GCSEs in the summer. So he's in year 11 now. He was in year 10 last summer and he had his mock grades come through. And it makes me laugh. So his mock grades came through, showed my mum. My mum, I think she bollocked him because they weren't the best. She wants A stars throughout or 9s or whatever it is now for GCSEs. And so I popped home.
Sorry, what GCSEs are numbered?
Yeah, they're numbered now.
You don't know that.
Yeah.
You better get prepared. Khalil gonna bring home some 9s and 8s.
What do you mean a 9? Where's the A? But mummy,
that
is 9 a good thing?
Yeah. 9's a good
old
thing.
school mum.
I know.
Listen, I'll be old school. We're saying O levels. Yeah, I'm A levels and GCSEs. Chill.
It's only been implemented the last couple of years, so don't worry. You'll know all about it.
Need a manual. Even I knew that.
So I popped home that day. Don't know what I was doing, but my mum was like egging my brother on to show me his results. And so he showed me his results, and I was like, "Well done." And my mum was well quiet in the background. She literally shrank into the sofa because I think she thought I would back her up. But I said to him, well done. I can see you've got some 8s and some 9s, but I see you've got some 7s and 6s. What happened there? He was like, oh, they're not my favourite subjects and I didn't really revise for them. Blah, 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 whatever he said. And I was like, oh, okay, well, I know you've got the capability to do 8s and 9s because you've done it here.
Mama Fizz right here.
I've learned.
Mama Fizz right here.
So I was like, I'm proud of you for the ones that you got really well in. I'm proud of you for the ones that you didn't revise that well for and you still got good grades. But you know you can do better. You can do a little bit better. You just need to revise a bit more. And he was like, yeah, I know. He admitted it. He admitted he slacked off, didn't want to revise those subjects. They're not his favourite subjects, didn't want to put the time into it. But he knows he has the ability to get it.
Did you talk to your mum afterwards?
Yeah, I was like, what's up? And she goes, oh, I didn't think he did that well. I was like, no, he did well. He did. These are mock grades. They have no correlation to what he's actually going to get. But if in that moment, in the mock grade moment, you're bollocking him and I'm bollocking him and everyone's bollocking him, that's going to put him into a spiral, a downward spiral, and he's not going to perform. And he walked away well happy, like, yeah, I did good. And my mom's just sitting there like, this conversation didn't go the way I expected it to go. Because she didn't give me a heads up, nothing to say he didn't do well or anything like that. But I thought he did fair, not amazing, not bad. He did fair. And I had to give praise where praise was due. And the criticism was on the ones that you didn't do so well. Is there something you could have done differently? And he's getting ready now to do a next round of mock exams, and he's been revising.
How many?
I was gonna say, how many rounds of mocks?
So they do
This
like
is how they
predicted
kick-
correct.
And
Yeah.
I'm gonna get onto this because I will say about later, but the constant testing and testing and testing, it's not as good as we think it
It's
actually
not.
is.
It's a lot of stress and anxiety. Like I
But
see it now.
I'll get onto why that is,
But they do the year 10 mocks.
Mm.
And then they do in your year 11, they do like practice papers and mock
Okay,
exams and stuff like
that's
that.
true.
So he's at that stage because they're going to be sitting their exams in May.
In
I
person or over Zoom?
In person.
Okay, I didn't know if COVID was restricting them.
Well, we
anymore.
don't know yet.
Well, we don't know.
Let me
but
catch my
the
flight
plan
first.
is in person.
Before
Look at
it
this one.
opens up.
COVID can go after my
COVID can
flight.
just hang
But
tight
my thing is because I've got siblings who are significantly younger than I am, and I've lived life a lot further than they have.
You know
All right,
to
Nan.
handle it.
I know how to. I know how I felt when I thought I did okay or I thought I did good, and my parents burst my bubble. And how it made me feel after, and how dejected I felt, how I felt like what's the point in doing anything? What's the point in pursuing this anymore?
Also how it's affected you now.
Yeah, literally, it is literally how I sit there and I think about the adult that I am now, the anxieties that I have now, and if I can help my baby brother out by just being a little bit kinder with the words that I choose, and that it might have a slightly more positive outcome for him, I'm gonna do it. And I think it is making a difference because he would talk to me about school. He actually asked me to test him on his science mock thing. And I was like, I haven't done GCSE science in years. I haven't done GCSE science in years. You'll have to bring your
Uncle
notebook out
Google.
next
Chemistry,
time.
physics, or biology?
Well, it's GCSE science. So it's all free, no?
Oh, so they
Yeah.
mash it all together now.
Yeah, I
Jeez,
think
I'm
so.
bread.
And he's doing double science on top of that as well.
We have young Ting Peter in the room saying yes, yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yes,
I
yes.
Yeah.
did that last year, bro.
He teaches. Give him some credit.
It's literally my job.
Yeah. But Leo, I wanted to really shine some light on the work that you're doing, especially around the men's circle, the men's talk, and practically raising a generation of men. What sort of things are you saying to them in those talks that are preparing them, one, to be a man and encouraging them on this journey that they're going to take moving forward?
I think, you know what, I'm rather than that, I'm going to touch on the youth work aspect in general, just working with young people in general. I think I really like about what Fizz said as well, just about keeping it real. So like with young people, I feel like it's all about keeping it real and not giving them fake affirmations as well. I feel like those can be dangerous. You know, like telling a young person you're doing well when they're not. That can be dangerous because then they'll think that they're doing good, but they really aren't.
And they're easily influenced at that age.
Very.
Yeah, of course. And I think for me, I tend to just focus on what their values are, the qualities, or what they're really good at, to point those out, to let them know this is what you're really strong at, and this is what you're really good at. Because I'm not giving them anything fake. I'm giving them something that applies to them and what's real to them. And I just wanted to make this point of like affirmations in school, right? When teachers tell the students that they're doing well and stuff, those affirmations are really different to the ones that give in youth work. So what I mean by that is that the affirmations that school kids usually get is that they're performing well within a class that the teachers created,
Right.
that the teachers got a space in. So they're doing well within someone
Those
else's space
limitations,
rather than who they are as an individual,
And
which is
where
entirely
the teacher has the control over that entire
Yeah,
environment
yeah.
for what might be only 45 minutes of the day.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm,
Because
I'm glad you raised that,
That is
because
very
I was
good
going to
point. I
say
never
we
thought
don't
about
get affirmations on our character.
No.
So how's youth work then different? Like it's just literally everything.
I think number one, to even start with youth work, I think every youth worker is different. So like I'll be different to all the other youth workers. But I think for me, it's just about, for me, most important thing in youth work is building the relationship. Because if you have the relationship, the young people are more likely to listen to you. Because if you don't, you can just be any other random person telling them stuff. And just be like, who's this guy telling
There's
me
no
things?
value or weight in what you say.
Yeah, and also I believe in terms of working with young people and just pointing out their strengths and giving them affirmations. I think asking them questions is important. And Fizz, like she shared a beautiful example of asking her brother a question. You know, and I think questions are really good as reflectors for, like, rather than telling them what it is, you ask them the question, let them realize what it is, because that's more powerful for the young person.
That's a very good point.
Yeah,
a very, very good point. And I think that lends into a good segue as to going into adulthood. And what the point I wanted to make and what I wanted to touch on was, I think the transition that kids nowadays, or not nowadays, have had when moving from toddler to teenager to young adult and going through school is you're constantly being tested and having feedback on those tests, whether you've done right or you've done wrong. And when you get into adulthood, there's no feedback whether you're going to be a good, if you're being a good adult. So you're thinking, all right, my whole life, I've got these tests letting me know that I'm doing well. As soon as you get into adulthood, it's like, what's your only feedback that you get? Instagram, where people are projecting a fake lifestyle of what they actually want to show you.
But you're also being measured at work. You're being measured. You're
Yeah.
being measured amongst your spouse. You're being measured against family, to how you are performing in your role as
You're
a
being
man.
measured by your credit score.
but you know what's really interesting.
being-
But you know what's really interesting about that as well. It's like, whose lenses are you being measured by?
Very true.
Yeah.
You know, because there'll be multiple different lenses, and everyone's got different perspective,
different
and just
expectation. And perspective.
yeah, different expectation. And it's just like they're being measured by so many different people. So I feel like for me also, and that's the work I do with young people, it's about helping them realize whose lenses are important to you, like which
ones to devalue.
Which lens you want to have in your life, and which one brings value to you, which one do you want to be measured by, because once they can realize that, then that helps them move forward with stuff.
And all of the affirmations and the criticisms that we've spoken about so far are all relating to academic or work
Very true. Very
related things. And the reason why I said I'm glad you brought up something, because we never actually get positive affirmations or compliments growing up on our character.
The softer skills.
The softer skills. And that's actually really, really important. So things like, I don't know, when because kids genuinely do things out of the goodness of their heart, like when they share toys or when but it's that kind of stuff that I never got positive affirmations on as a kid.
That's what I've made sure I've done differently with my son.
I was going to ask, how are you doing that with, what sort of things are you
My young
enforcing
king.
with Khalil?
So I became very, very quickly very mindful of the effects of your mental well-being when it comes to lack of affirmation, too much criticism, and pressure. So I made sure a conscious effort, which is to find that balance with my son. So my son, I thought I'd grow up giving him beatings. I haven't.
That's the dog boy.
I literally was looking forward to it. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to give birth to a child so I can beat him so we can like continue the cycle.
For the culture.
For the culture.
What is it about that? Like, why do
So
we say that?
So we can all
Why?
discuss it in the playground. They can go, yeah, I got beat today. When you get beat by a stick?
But what?
Oh,
no, but
belt.
where does
Slippers.
that thought come from? Because I'm exactly the
Because
same.
comedians even chat about it. It's so normalized in culture.
It's what
ethnic
we saw
minorities.
growing up. It's what we saw our
But
parents
yes,
do.
I
so we
thought
think it's the right
genuinely
way,
that's part of my discipline and letting you know if you're doing good or bad. With my son, like if I show you my phone today, I gave him an iPad while I go away, because I'm gonna be going for 2 weeks away from my son. We haven't done this in years, and I gave him an iPad so he can message me on it and FaceTime, and he sent me. I don't know. I haven't left the country. I don't know if you can see. Hi, mummy,
look
I
at
love
the
you.
voice notes.
Loads of voice notes, and let me try and play one where he stopped being silly. Hopefully. You're amazing. You're the best. You're the best. You're my favorite.
Wow.
And that's
Exactly. That warms your heart, right?
and he's got loads of voices where he's just singing, "Mummy, you're incredible. You're this," and it's because I made sure. Me and him were tight, but don't get twisted. I'm not your friend.
Yeah.
So that I've managed to find that balance between I adore you, you're incredible, you're this, you're that, you know. But then I'll also say, like, when he does something wrong, I'm like, Khalil, you know how incredible you are, right? But this right now isn't a reflection of the boy I know. Or like, you know, I know you can do better. I don't dismiss anything that he does wrong. I make sure he apologizes for it. I make sure he corrects himself. But then I also acknowledge the fact that he apologized rather than now carry on. Now there's more punishment.
Yes, that's
So-
something our parents
Thank you
did.
for saying sorry.
I thank him. I apologize. I do everything, and it's not to make my child feel he runs me. No, there's pure respect. I give him one look anywhere, any place. He's shook.
Yeah.
Not because I'm gonna beat him, because he feels disappointed. He feels like he's disappointing me. Because
Yeah.
I appreciate and value him, and therefore he appreciates and values me, and therefore we're like, I'll be like, Khalil, you're amazing, Mum, you're amazing.
Yeah.
Out of nowhere, he'll be like, Mummy, I love you. I love you too.
Yeah.
And it's not like I'm not babying him, and I'm not trying to like make him soft in the sense that people will say, but I understand how important it is to build someone's confidence and their mindset,
self-esteem.
but not to the point of delusion, like you said, not
Yeah.
positive affirmation where you're like, you're really good when he's failing.
Mm.
I'll be like, okay, cool, let's focus on this more because we're struggling a little bit, and it's okay to struggle because we have to all start somewhere. Like I'm mindful his reading's a little bit behind in certain areas, but he's also very, very, he's a very emotionally intelligent. He's very, very kind, very sweet.
I wonder where he gets that from. The
where-
emotional intelligence, kindness. I wonder.
I don't know.
Google.
Very humble. Very humble.
But like his character is incredible, and he has the ability and the potential. So for me, I'm not gonna ruin your confidence because you're failing. It'll be frustrating for me to watch you like fail at something, but I will make sure I'll aid you to better your ways. And it's something I always yearn for, and I didn't realize I yearned for it until I became an adult and I look back, and it all made sense to why I was acting up, to why I'd compare and feel some kind of way.
Yeah.
But I it's very, very hard. It's a very conscious effort to unlearn behavior, to be mindful of what information you're meant to be given and not doing too much. So I don't spoil my son because I wasn't given toys growing up, or I wasn't given an overload of this. I make sure I understand what spoiling does. I understand what this does. So it's just like, I don't want to punish him too much. It's like, balance. It's a constant balance. But
Yeah.
eventually there's a flow. But the only time I can't really predict is when he enters
Adult life, or when he's by
secondary
himself.
year 4, 5. I'm shook onwards because
What
they're
year
a
is he
whole.
now?
He's in year 2.
That big boy is in year 2, bro.
Yeah.
He looks
He's-
like he
he's-
could drive.
He's the he's the shortest one in his
What?
class as well.
That big man is
He's in year 2.
year 2.
Yeah, you've met him, innit? Yeah,
Nah, these kids are growing up too. He's got a beard. What are you talking about? He's got a better beard than me.
That's bum fluff, yo. No, but yeah,
Jeez, right, year 2.
but I think he's become a special kid based on positive affirmations, humbling conversations. I'll speak to him on eye level. We'll sit down and the tone will change, and I'll remind him I'm upset with him, but only because I know how great you are and I know the potential greatness you can be. But if he was a very misbehaved child, maybe I'm lucky that I didn't get to see that, or maybe I managed to nip it in the bud very, very early, and every time it starts coming up, I know how to control it, to manage his behavior. But if he was a very problematic child, maybe it would have been a lot harder for me to sort of try and manage the behavior. I don't know.
No, I think problematic kids come from the lack of right attention from those taking care of them. There's certain behavioural and mental.
That's a broad brush.
No,
to
there are
stroke.
some. Whoa, sorry. There's some behavioural issues that are linked to learning disabilities, mental
Could
health,
be
that kind of stuff.
anything.
But when it's an otherwise healthy child and they have behavioural issues, a lot of the reasons why they have behavioural issues is because
I'm not going to confirm nor deny.
it's because their parents do not speak to them in a way that encourages them to sit and think about stuff.
Very dangerous thing.
It's
to say.
not,
I
because
get what you're
it's
saying, but
not.
it's just
What
like,
I'm trying to
Be relatable
say
to some
is when
people.
there
So
aren't any health issues related to behavioural issues.
So what if you have what if you have a child that gets all of the love, but they're still misbehaving?
It's
They
not
get the
about
attention.
it's not love, and it's not about love and getting attention as in like being pandered to. What I mean is, if Hebz didn't have those conversations with Khalil where she positively reinforced good behavior but gave him a chance to reflect on bad behavior.
But what if you still get someone? That's my point.
But and then she was complaining that he had problematic behavior because he's not listening to her, because he's not taking instructions, because he's acting out. Kids do that. I'm talking about outside of any behavioral conditions related to health. Kids do that because they feel misunderstood. They feel like they're not heard. They feel like they're not being respected, because they have feelings too that they haven't been able to understand, to communicate it to us. So they could be acting out of frustration. Mum never listens to me. Dad never listens to me. They're over there arguing. So I'm gonna just go over here and paint the walls with shaving foam or something. I don't know. Like I
To
feel
seek
like a lot of
attention.
kids, yeah, because they can't express their frustrations.
Which is why
apart from-
I question whether I've nipped a lot of stuff right
I
from the
think you
beginning
have,
because I've
yeah.
seen it and I'm like, nah, not here.
Yeah.
So
And
you
I've
know-
been able to pull up. Go on, Leo.
I've done the same with my brother as well. I have me and him. He's 15. He's still very young. He's still a baby in my eyes. But me and him have had some deep conversations, and I see the way his mind works, and I see the way that he
it's happened.
yeah, he
Mm.
knows, and he knows he's being heard. He knows he's being respected. His boundaries are being respected. But I see the reflection. I see the change in his behavior after. But if I was to just shout at him,
It wouldn't
it
get
wouldn't
through.
happen.
Go on,
Yeah.
Leo. You're gonna
Oh,
say.
yeah, go on.
No, I was gonna say I definitely agree with conversation. I think conversations are powerful in general. And I think with kids in particular, like a lot of the time they've been told not to do stuff, but they really haven't had a conversation for why not to do it or an understanding for what that means.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's an important. Even it doesn't matter how young the child is. Like I think actually even doing it from a younger age and starting to basically incorporate a culture where they do that and they talk about stuff. I think that's important. But there's only other aspect that people don't really talk about, which is school. And I feel like schools are really dangerous in terms of like when kids are growing up and they start to establish themselves socially and what school means and how they do that within school. That's a whole different element because like the kid can be the best child at home, but
when they get to that
when
classroom,
they start going to not necessarily classroom, but like they might have certain friends. Let's say two kids at school, yeah. One is like an amazing child at home, and one might have some messed up parents or whatever, and he's like his behavior is a bit mad. But they might become friends, and because like sometimes friends are our role models too, so
trust me,
they can influence the other kid just to do some mad stuff.
No, that's
as
true,
well.
and
Like,
that's something I always picked up. I always say to my son, "Nah, this isn't your behavior." I
Mm.
know he's hung out with someone, and they've tried to like embed or influence their behavior, even if he's just trying to copy them out of coolness. And it's just like again understanding why things are wrong. My son once ran away playing hide and seek, and I was so shook. I thought I'd lost him. Like it was actually like my life. I felt like it was over. And I immediately just wanted to like hug him and jab him in the throat at the same time because I really felt like I was that vexed. But then I had to explain to him why I was so irate. I had to let him go, do you realize how this made me feel? And I had to break down how much I adored him, his journey. Like I had to break it down for him to go, okay, I'm never going to do that again. If I just gave him a lick, like pure licks, go inside, you're grounded.
Yeah, he's not going to understand. He's not going to understand that what he's done and the consequences of it. So yeah, definitely having those conversations.
But I think there is the element of like when kids get older, like they might understand, but then they'll still make an informed decision. So like they might know it's bad, but it might be, you know what, that's what I want to do.
I'll risk it for the chocolate.
Yeah. No, but seriously, it can happen too. You know, like because obviously they at the end of the day, like they have their own mind in it, so they end up making their own mistakes and doing their own, like regardless of how much we try to safeguard them sometimes, but we can just, I feel like we can just do our best.
So,
and it's funny I'm saying this that I don't have no kids, but
it's alright. But do you know sometimes you know when you're ready.
But you know what? Like in my mind, like, and I think it's a mindset thing. I'm already a dad, so I'm already thinking about
because you're already
conversations
I'm
going to be having with my kids and all these other things and stuff, and yeah.
Well, I wanted to touch on. We're going with that one, so we've got a bit of time left. Very, very quickly, what are some positive affirmation, either phrases or words that really encourage you as a person and talk to you?
I think for me, it's just about recognizing like a quality or an ability that I've got, and which is the same thing that I do with young people. So it's about something that's true to me, and I think that's what kind of gives me like a little boost.
What about you, Fizz?
I would say I agree with you, Leo. I think when you're complimented on your personality, when on a character trait, an inherent one that is just you, it's a more meaningful affirmation and a more meaningful compliment. And I think I've said this before, but one of the nicest compliments I ever had was when I told someone my name, an Arabic speaker. I was like, my name's Fahana. And she was like, your name really suits who you are. That I was like, oh
Fahana
my God,
happy,
so nice. Yeah, Fahana means happy. And for someone to, within 5 minutes of meeting me, to have that impression of me made me feel so happy. And I was like, this is the nicest compliment I've ever had. It wasn't anything to do with my physical appearance or my achievements or anything like that. It was genuinely
your character,
based on her her 5-minute interaction with me and based on my character. And I thought that was really lovely. And I'm kind of, when I realized that compliment meant so much to me. I was like, I need to build that into my life with how I compliment other people too, so that I'm complimenting them on the things that I appreciate them for. And I literally say to my friends now, I really appreciate you. I don't think you understand.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
love you and I appreciate you. I think I've said it to you.
I think we say it a lot.
We say it to each other. Yeah.
I think that's something I actively do. I appreciate you. I said it to you. Like, I appreciate you. Like, there's people I genuinely.
That's her, what she says all the time.
Yeah, but like I've
But
started.
I don't throw it out. But as in,
Yeah.
it's important. Like, so just to move. Sorry,
Yeah, no, I'm done.
I was just trying to like tag on.
What encourages you?
So like, I think it's just very humbling reflections. I think that's really nice. I think I have a lot of self-doubt when someone kicks in and tells me, yo, do you realize you're this, you're that, you're that? I don't get ego. I get humble because I don't.
Quick 7 seconds.
Yes, I think for me it's just hearing things that I want to give, like already as a mum, what I do for my son, I put out there to the world. So to anyone that has done even a hint of goodness to me, I credit them for it. Do you know what I mean? And I think I put that out in the air, and I make sure I'm not too prideful or too shy to compliment, because I'm too afraid to receive a compliment back because of my problems. So now I'm all about positivity, and I feel like I'd rather spread so much love. I don't do gossip. I don't do backchat. I don't do any of that stuff. So for me, I'd rather spend time reminding people of their qualities in hope that will help them, rather than the world's there to destroy you anyway. So I'm going to be here to try and lift you a little bit, but not with delusion, just with realness.
Yeah.
Okay, so for me, it's environment. So the environment I'm in is really, really important. I've literally done things, positive things in my life based on the environment I'm in, but it might be a thing of culture. I'll always say this, I don't really want or need that that saying that you've done a good job. I've done a good job, just leave it. I'm okay with it. I think that's something I have to grow into and I have to learn from. I have to be able to accept them. I have to be able to know that it comes from a place of love. I think I like the way you do it and just say, I appreciate you. So appreciate it. As men growing up, you know how you show affirmation to one another? I see you.
Yeah.
That's it.
I see
you.
you.
That's it.
I see you shining.
I see you.
I'm trying to be like you, fam.
That's the thing.
I'm trying to be like you.
I'm trying to be like you, bro.
But sometimes that's like a diss as well, like in a way.
Yeah,
it's true,
but
though.
Depends what it is, yeah.
Yeah, it depends on that. You know, that's what's going to add as well to it. I think with affirmations, it also depends on the intention. I think that's important. I think for me, intention matters, and I think people can pick up on the intention.
When people say, "Oh, I see you shining with that new leather jacket," it's like that hair.
Yeah, like a little bit of that. Yeah, the intention.
I get what you
is
mean.
important.
Some people come from it, but I think also the deflection of I'm trying to be like you is like almost I don't want to receive the compliment. I don't want to see the affirmation, so I'm going to throw it back straight at you because it's too much attention on me.
That is very true.
So it's just like I can't just be like safe, thank you. I'm gonna sit in this for a little bit. No, it's like no, throw it back to you.
No,
Yeah.
I've done that a lot growing up. What final thoughts?
You've done a great job.
What do you mean?
We appreciate you, Ben.
We appreciate you.
Well, I does this.
I appreciate you, man.
I does this, man.
We love you.
We're trying to be like you, man.
I does this all day, every day.
Nah, but for real,
this
serious,
is
no, I
like-
appreciate you, bro.
Thank you.
Yes.
You too.
Yeah.
Romance in the making.
Yeah, all right.
Don't forget your connect, yeah?
Final thoughts. Final thoughts from you, Hebz?
I think if you weren't ever shown positive affirmation, don't repeat the cycle. I think our parents repeat the cycle. I think try and break it and find things to better, because it also betters your life as well as other people's that you're going to influence. Everyone's going to look up to you at some point, or someone's going to look up to you at some point, whether it's for the bad reasons or the good reasons. So just make sure you're doing it for the great reasons.
Yeah, what are your final thoughts?
Have I got 1 minute?
No, you got like 10 seconds.
You got go.
Yeah,
go.
so I would say, you know what? I think incorporate some kind of culture or like a process of doing that. So for instance, like I spoke about in the last episode. So this camp I went to. So what they were doing every single day, they were doing something called gratitude circle. So before the dinner, they would stand in a circle. So there's like 70, 80 people standing in a circle. Actually, Aladdin's been, so he knows anyways. I'm talking about gratitude
Aladdin's
circle.
too busy. He's packing up to go.
He's
So-
watching
so-
Hawkeye.
So basically, from the start of the camp, they will have something called family groups, yeah. and they'll give you these beads. So you get a bunch of beads and you can make a necklace. But what these beads are for, so when we stand in a gratitude circle, and you can do that outside of the circle as well, but in a gratitude circle, we'd be like, I want to thank so-and-so for doing this, or I see this within this person, and they give them a bead. And what happens, they have that bead on a necklace, and they're building this necklace, and there's a physical representation of like the
People
good
being thankful.
yeah,
for
and it's
it,
like
yeah.
and it's like it's sort of like a culture thing, and then it becomes a culture because it's like a community sort of thing.
I
throughout
like
the
that.
week.
I like that. I like
And,
that.
and I think what's beautiful as well about that in particular, you see some kids there who probably have a family where they've never been like praised for something, or they never had an affirmation, and they're super quiet. And then within the first day, 2-3 days, they don't really get too much attention, but they get some after that. Then they start being like, yo, I want to thank this person for this.
Yeah.
But you're putting seeds in there. Right?
Yeah, but that's a very like needed and essential thing for those kids.
So something that I've taken away from a friend, just very quickly, that other people can take away, which is a few of my friends do this, and I should start doing this with my son, more proactive. I don't do it all the time, but it's showing like every day 3 things that you're grateful for, 3 things that makes you happy, and 3 things that you'd like to improve on or something.
That's 9 things I'm spitting out.
Yeah, basically.
Big man, how much time we got in the morning?
But you can. But it's at the end of the day.
It's bedtime. Go to bed.
It's a reflective
No, I get it,
moment.
yeah.
So I think even if you just choose one grateful thing a day, it's like you allow yourself to stop taking the goodness
That's good.
and
yeah.
actually
I like that.
actually speak it,
Yeah.
as opposed to just process it but not process it. You just move in it. Like you're just going through the motions as opposed to appreciating what happened.
Yeah, it's a good practice for yourself to do at the end of the day. So it's not just something that you pass on
Self-love
to your
and
children.
self-care,
Yeah.
which we
You
didn't
should
get
write it
onto
down in a
too.
diary. 3
Yeah.
things that I value
people
about
do
today.
that gratitude journals.
Ben?
Yeah.
Create, similar to what Leo said, create an environment which nurtures and encourages those around you to really thrive, and that is through positive encouragement, through positive words, and be the people that you would want to see in the future. So
Word.
it's really, really important.
the world,
We're
we are
raising young people to be, and they're watching us as well. So just be the people that you want to see in the future.
Amen.
But yeah, you have been listening to Grown Up British. Don't worry, we'll be taking over again very, very soon. Coming to a YouTube channel near you. I am your host for this episode, Ben of LDN.
Hi, I'm Hebz. You can catch me on I am Hebz on Instagram, and make sure you subscribe on YouTube, Mama Hebz.
Of course, all that. Go ahead, Fizz. Go ahead, Fizz. Go
I was
ahead.
about to say, did you do the final thoughts as well?
Did I do my final
Did you-
thoughts?
Yeah, you
Oh.
did.
'Cause I don't think you
You
did.
did. You both spoke, and then I spoke. I think Ben spoke twice. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Oh!
It's cool.
He went a full cycle. Yeah,
I think so. It's
Yeah,
fine.
yeah,
Don't
you guys spoke, and then I mirrored you guys and carried on.
See,
I guess that.
Power-
Ben
I'm on a
gave
power
feedback
trip.
twice.
I'm on a power
He's
trip.
like,
I'm
"Fuck
sorry.
you guys, that
I'm
was
sorry. I'm
twice.
sorry.
Smash
I'm sorry.
so
Fizz,
much.
I'm sorry. Fizz, I'm sorry.
cool, don't
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I've forgotten my own Instagram name again.
Keep it
Fizz.
One said. And our special guest for the evening,
Special
sir.
guest.
My Instagram's Leo's_index. You don't have to follow me. I don't really care if you do or not, without making it sound
Hey, hey,
dramatic.
hey.
No, on a serious note, but if you want to follow and get in contact, please do.
They should definitely follow.
But
you,
definitely
subscribe.
follow the podcast and
Yeah.
subscribe. If you can go on YouTube and type in Beyond the Surface Podcast, or on Instagram podcast_BTS. You can find them on there.
Nice.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
Thank
It's
you.
been insightful.
Twice.
It's been amazing. Thank you.
You've forgotten
Twice. I love
to do the whole group.
What?
It's fine, man. It's not perfect. It's fine. Close to perfection.
You did a great job, Ben, but you just need to add in that little bit.
GrownUpBritish.h on Instagram. So peace out. Whatever.